When Caitlin Clark stepped onto the golf course alongside Nelly Korda, the result wasn't just a viral highlight. It was a masterclass in modern sports promotion. The LPGA's swift response to Clark's participation transformed what could have been a niche moment into a global media event. Their strategic storytelling, social media blitz, and understanding of cultural timing turned her performance into a sensation that extended far beyond the golf world.
If you're here for the real story and not the filtered version, subscribe. And if you're sticking around for the next meltdown, you better definitely subscribe.
Fans flooded timelines, broadcasters scrambled to expand coverage, and within hours, the event became a showcase for how embracing individual star power can elevate an entire sport's reach and relevance. Yet, while the LPGA rode that wave to new heights, the WNBA stood on the sidelines, missing a rare chance to align itself with Clark's expanding influence. This moment revealed more than a marketing gap. It exposed a mindset problem. The WNBA's reluctance to celebrate one of its brightest stars at her peak of public attention reflected an outdated approach to growth and audience engagement. As fans increasingly reward authenticity, agility, and digital connection, Clark's golf breakthrough proved that leagues willing to evolve with their stars will define the next era of women's sports, while those that hesitate risk being left behind. Caitlin Clark stepped onto a golf course and broke the internet. Again, she didn't need a full season, a championship run, or a marketing campaign. All it took was one day, one swing, and a partnership with the LPGA that left everyone, from casual fans to industry experts, saying the same thing. How is she this good at everything? Caitlin Clark is best known as the basketball phenom reshaping the WNBA's landscape. But in her golf debut, she didn't just hold her own. She dominated the moment. And it wasn't just about athletic performance. It was about what the LPGA did with it. They didn't just let her play. They built the event around her. From social media coordination to smart pairings, like teaming her with Nelly Korda, they created a situation designed to maximize exposure, boost visibility, and ride the wave of her star power. It worked. Clips went viral. Audience numbers surged. The entire women's golf world got a lift. That's not coincidence. That's strategy. The LPGA knew what they were doing. They saw the opportunity and actually acted on it. They saw Caitlin Clark not just as a guest, but as a multi-sport brand. Someone who could pull in fans who'd never even looked at a tee box before. And those fans showed up. Because Clark doesn't bring a fan base, she brings a movement. But while the LPGA was executing a marketing masterclass, the WNBA was nowhere to be found. No shout-out, no cross-platform content, no attempt to tie her performance back to the league she's helped elevate. Silence. It was a glaring contrast. One league embraced the moment. The other missed it entirely. Let's not pretend this was some minor oversight. The WNBA needed this. Clark's golf outing was a free PR gift, an off-day marketing spike that didn't require a single jersey or box score. And they let it pass. No engagement, no social buzz, just another opportunity left on the table. And this is becoming a pattern. Clark's rookie season has been a historic one. From breaking viewership records to drawing sellout crowds in every city she visits, she's completely transformed how people interact with the WNBA. And yet, the league still treats her like she's just another player. They celebrate the numbers after the fact, sure, but they don't lead with her. They don't build around her. They don't move with her. Meanwhile, the LPGA was ready. They saw Clark's value and weren't afraid to promote her, even though she's not one of theirs. Because they get it. Star power isn't about keeping score. It's about using momentum when you've got it. And right now, Caitlin Clark is the momentum. What the LPGA proved is that you don't need decades of tradition or billion-dollar budgets to win a media game. You just need to be nimble, responsive, and willing to center your stars. They didn't waste time debating if she was stealing focus. They gave her the focus, knowing it would benefit everyone. Nelly Korda's brand got stronger. The LPGA's brand got stronger. Women's golf, in general, got a surge of attention it rarely sees outside of majors. All because they understood the moment and took it. The WNBA didn't. They've been handed viral moment after viral moment with Clark and still refuse to build a strategy around her. It's not just hesitation. It's institutional resistance to modern sports marketing. The idea that the league comes first and individual players should never overshadow the bigger picture. But here's the reality. Caitlin Clark is the bigger picture right now, and there's nothing wrong with that. Look at what the NBA does. They promote LeBron, Steph, Giannis, Luka. They understand that stars grow the game. They don't worry about a single player becoming too big. They lean in because they know that when those players thrive, the entire league eats. The WNBA? They still haven't figured that out. They treat Caitlin Clark like she's one storyline among many. But the public doesn't see it that way. The media doesn't see it that way. And judging by her golf debut, other leagues don't see it that way either. The LPGA saw the whole picture, and they ran with it. They recognized that Clark isn't a basketball player trying golf. She's a cross-sport asset, someone who brings value anywhere she goes. And the fans? They proved it. Social media exploded. Fans demanded coverage. They posted her swings, her scores, her reactions. Broadcasters had to adjust because of the attention. That's how strong her pull is. She changed the event. She shifted the spotlight. And the WNBA sat there and watched. The silence isn't just a mistake. It's a sign of how out of step the league is with the modern sports landscape. This isn't about playing golf. It's about visibility, about impact, about recognizing when an athlete is having a moment and doing everything in your power to connect your brand to that moment. Clark gave them that moment on a silver platter, and they looked the other way. Fans noticed. Analysts noticed. And the next time Clark shows up somewhere unexpected and the buzz goes through the roof, people are going to ask again, where's the WNBA? If they don't figure out how to embrace her cultural reach, someone else will. And they already are. Because Caitlin Clark doesn't need the WNBA to stay relevant. But the WNBA definitely needs her. This event should have been a case study in how to build around your stars. How to jump into cross-promotion. How to use digital platforms to own a trending topic and make it your story. But instead, it became a case study in how not to do it. The LPGA built the blueprint. The WNBA ignored the instructions. And this is the kind of miss that has long-term consequences. Because if you keep ignoring your biggest star, eventually she'll stop waiting for you to catch up. And so will the fans. People don't want curated, sanitized marketing anymore. They want personality. They want presence. They want to feel like they're part of something bigger than a league logo. Clark gives you that. All you have to do is let her lead. And yet, the WNBA keeps trying to treat her like everyone else. They want to spread the shine evenly. But that's not how marketing works. You ride the wave that's in front of you. And Caitlin Clark is the wave. The LPGA got the win here, not just because Clark played well, but because they knew how to position her. They knew how to turn a one-day event into a full-on cultural moment. And that kind of thinking, that's the future. The question now is whether the WNBA is willing to catch up or get left behind. If you're still amazed that Caitlin Clark broke the sports internet again, and this time with a golf club, go ahead and like this video. Drop a comment. Should the WNBA have jumped on the hype? Or are they just too slow to adapt? And share this with someone who needs to see how a single moment can reveal the entire marketing playbook. Subscribe if you want more of these breakdowns on how athletes are changing the game and how some leagues are still stuck in the past. Let's be honest, this isn't just about Caitlin Clark. It's about what she represents and what this golf moment exposed about the broader landscape of women's sports. Her golf appearance wasn't just a fun off-season clip for social media. It became the story across sports media platforms. Why? Because people are obsessed with her. She's that rare athlete who isn't just dominant in her sport. She's culturally relevant. She crosses over. She brings in new audiences. She makes people care. And in a sports ecosystem where attention is currency, Clark is printing money. So when she showed up, stepped on that tee box, and delivered a performance worthy of headlines, the LPGA didn't hesitate. They understood what they had. They saw the power in proximity. They paired her with Nelly Korda, a legit golf superstar, because they knew it would create viral content. And it did. It brought in casual fans. It reached people who had never watched women's golf before. And suddenly, that event wasn't just a niche tournament. It was the moment. They were ready for it. The cameras were rolling. The marketing teams were firing. The posts were polished. The coverage was immediate. And the fans showed up, flooding timelines with clips, reactions, and praise. Because Caitlin Clark was there. And when she's involved, it's not just a game. It's a cultural event. That's how it works now. Star athletes are media engines. They drive the conversation, generate headlines, and attract viewers in ways no generic promo campaign ever could. The LPGA knows that. They embraced it. The WNBA still doesn't seem to. Which is wild, because Clark is their star. It shouldn't take a different league to show you how valuable your own player is. But that's exactly what happened. The LPGA exposed how much the WNBA is leaving on the table. And the contrast couldn't be more dramatic. Let's be clear, Caitlin Clark's not just a standout basketball player. She's a once-in-a-generation marketing opportunity. She's an entry point for new fans. People who've never watched the WNBA are tuning in just for her. She's the reason people are buying tickets, setting DVRs, and filling arenas. That kind of pull is rare. It's not something you manage cautiously. It's something you build around. But that's where the WNBA keeps falling short. They treat Clark like she's one of many, as if downplaying her visibility somehow protects the league's integrity or keeps the playing field level. But here's the thing. There's no level playing field when it comes to star power. Some players are bigger, and that's not a threat, it's an asset. Other leagues get it. The LPGA didn't treat Clark's golf debut like a one-off gimmick. They treated it like a full-on campaign. And they won. They got international attention, new followers, and a boost in credibility just by recognizing a moment when it was happening and doing something about it. The WNBA? Not even a tweet. And you have to ask, why? Why is the league so hesitant to market Clark the way the world already sees her? She's a megastar, and everyone but the WNBA seems to understand that. The fans do. They're creating content nonstop. They're buying out arenas. They're demanding coverage. They're building the buzz that the league should be leading. And that's the wild part. The WNBA's not creating momentum. It's being carried by it. Clark's fan base is doing more promotion than the league itself. And yet, she keeps delivering. On the court, on the mic, on the golf course. She brings professionalism, charisma, and results. Every time, she's done her part. The LPGA proved what can happen when a league actually supports that level of star power. And now the ball is back in the WNBA's court. The question is whether they'll finally learn from this, or keep pretending that the old marketing model still works. Because it doesn't. You can't grow by staying small. You don't attract global audiences by treating megastars like rookies. You don't move the needle by holding back your biggest personality just to maintain an illusion of balance. This is professional sports. And in pro sports, stars sell the story. If you have someone who can trend across sports, break records, and spark headlines in multiple disciplines, you don't downplay that. You don't sit on the sidelines while another league capitalizes. You amplify it. You ride it. You expand the brand through it. Because Clark's moment on that golf course, that wasn't just about her swing. It was about reach, influence, possibility. It was a living, breathing case study in modern sports marketing. And the WNBA flunked the test. The league had the chance to boost its visibility by simply aligning with Clark's rising tide. A quote tweet, a quick clip, a post-game shout-out. Anything to show they're aware that their biggest star just made headlines in another major sport. But they didn't. They stayed silent. Again, that silence? It's louder than any promo. It tells fans and players that star power isn't supported here, that you can go viral outside the league and it won't even register. And that's a dangerous message to send in a time when every league is fighting for cultural relevance. Because other leagues will take notice. They already have. The LPGA proved it. And if the WNBA doesn't start embracing modern sports marketing, and more importantly, their own athletes, they're going to keep losing these moments. And eventually, those moments will turn into momentum. And that momentum will leave them behind. They need to evolve. Fast. Because the sports world isn't waiting. And Caitlin Clark? She's not slowing down. She'll keep breaking records, setting trends, and opening doors that were once closed to women's sports. But whether the WNBA walks through those doors with her is still up in the air. What's clear is this: the blueprint is out there. The LPGA laid it down in real time. All the WNBA has to do now is stop playing it safe and start playing smart. Here's the thing that makes it even more frustrating. They had the perfect blueprint right in front of them. What the LPGA did with Caitlin Clark wasn't rocket science. It was execution. It was timing. It was awareness. They saw the momentum she brings to any arena she steps into, and instead of resisting it, they embraced it. Not cautiously, not halfway. They went all in. And for that brief moment, women's golf was everywhere. Let's break that down. One event, one player, a non-golfer walks onto the course, partners with Nelly Korda, and suddenly the LPGA is trending. Not just on sports pages, but in mainstream media. And it wasn't because of a new sponsorship deal or some flashy TV campaign. It was because they recognized that Caitlin Clark's presence is the event. That's the lesson the WNBA keeps refusing to learn. It's not about pushing her over other players. It's not about ignoring team dynamics or rewriting league values. It's about understanding cultural capital and knowing what to do when you have it. Caitlin Clark is a marketing phenomenon. She is not only the most visible athlete in the WNBA, but also one of the most talked about sports figures in the entire country right now. That doesn't happen often. And when it does, leagues have to be ready to act. Instead, we saw hesitation, discomfort, silence. The league that should have been the loudest about this moment said nothing. Let that sit for a second. Your biggest star breaks out in a completely different sport, trends globally, draws in fans from entirely new markets. And your official response is nothing? Not even a repost, not a quote, not a highlight, not a message of support. If anything, it felt like they didn't want the attention. Maybe it's because they're afraid of making Clark too big. Maybe it's a misguided sense of fairness, thinking that over-promoting one player undermines others. But here's the reality. That's not how sports work anymore. You grow the game by growing the players. And sometimes that means putting the spotlight on the ones who already have the world's attention. That's not favoritism. That's strategy. The NBA knows this. The NFL knows this. Tennis and soccer know this. The LPGA just showed it in real time. And the WNBA? They're still treating Clark like she's just a cog in the machine. She's not. She is the machine right now. Her every move draws engagement. Her performances go viral. Her highlights are appointment viewing. She's brought in more media coverage, more sponsor interest, and more new fans in a single season than most leagues dream of. And the league she plays in won't even amplify a moment that another league turned into a global headline. That's not just a missed opportunity. It's malpractice. And it hurts in more ways than one. Because the fans notice, the media notices, and more importantly, the players notice. If you're a young athlete watching all of this unfold, watching the LPGA give Clark the platform, the coverage, the viral moments, and then watching the WNBA stay quiet, what message does that send? That you can carry a league's visibility but still get side-eyed when you step outside the lines? That's not empowerment. That's containment. And it's not sustainable. Because the modern athlete isn't just an athlete. They're a brand. They're a business. They're a content creator, a public figure, a walking campaign. And if your league isn't willing to support that, they will find someone who is. Clark doesn't need the WNBA to maintain her visibility anymore. She's earned that on her own. But the WNBA needs her. Desperately. And every time they refuse to ride the wave she's created, they fall further behind. What makes this even more painful is that we've seen what can happen when things are done right. When leagues lean into their stars, they grow. When they promote crossover moments, they tap into new audiences. When they trust their athletes to lead, they win. The LPGA did everything the WNBA could have done, and they did it faster, smarter, and without hesitation. And it paid off. Golf content doesn't usually trend unless it's a major. But Clark made it trend because she brings that kind of attention, not just from basketball fans, not just from women's sports fans, from everyone. And instead of jumping on the wave, the WNBA acted like it didn't happen. That's not humility. That's bad business. You can't claim to be growing the game if you're not willing to grow with it. You can't say you support your players and then go quiet when they break barriers outside of your own structure. And you definitely can't sit out cultural moments that could have directly elevated your league's visibility without spending a single dollar. This moment cost them nothing. No production budget, no sponsorship package, just the simple act of acknowledging what was already happening. And they couldn't even do that. What the LPGA did wasn't flashy, it was focused. They identified the value of the moment, and they built around it. The content was curated. The coverage was instant. They didn't try to bury the lead. They made Caitlin Clark the lead. Because they understood something the WNBA still doesn't. People follow people. Not logos. Not mission statements. Not team-first rhetoric. People follow stars. And right now, Caitlin Clark is one of the brightest stars in all of sports. This isn't just a missed tweet. It's a missed opportunity to evolve, to reach new fans, to demonstrate that the WNBA is ready to lead, not just in competition, but in culture. Because if the league wants to compete with other sports, other markets, other moments, it has to stop playing scared. It has to stop sitting out. It has to stop being the one league that refuses to promote the exact kind of player that every other league dreams of having. Clark gave him a headline, a trending topic, a marketing campaign on a platter. They chose silence. And the next time it happens, and it will happen again, everyone will be watching to see if they finally show up. Because if they don't, it won't just be the LPGA capitalizing. It'll be tennis, soccer, Olympic sports, endorsement brands, streaming platforms. Everyone who understands how this new world of sports marketing works. And they'll all be ready. Clark's not going to stop making moments. But the WNBA has to decide whether it wants to be part of them, or keep pretending like they don't exist. If you're just as shocked by the league silence during one of the biggest sports moments of the week, like this video, let us know in the comments. Should the WNBA have stepped up and joined the conversation, or are they stuck in the past? Share this with someone who still doesn't get why Caitlin Clark's impact is so much bigger than basketball. And don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns on the moves, missteps, and momentum shaping the future of sports.